Hello, Michael here with a video about long division, and we're going to look at three things. We're going to look at a written method, we're going to look at three different ways of dealing with remainders, and we're going to have a look at a few examples. Now, it might be useful to know this language here. The number that we are dividing is called the dividend. The number that we're dividing by is called the divisor, and the answer is called the quotient. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on with it. Right, so the written method that we're looking at here is called the bus stop method, because it looks a little bit, not very much, but a bit like a bus stop. So let's have a look at two examples here. We've got 346 divided by 2. So I write my dividend, 346, and I put it in a bus stop. And I put the divisor on the outside there. So now I asked myself, how many times does 2 go into 3? And it goes one time, and I've got a remainder of 1. So I put that remainder up there. So I read this number now as 14. How many times does 2 go into 14? And it goes 7 times. And there's no remainder, so I ask, how many times does 2 go into 6? And the answer is 3. So 346 divided by 2 is 173. Okay, let's have a look at this one now. 47.1 divided by 3. Well, we do it exactly the same way. So put the dividend, 47.1, there it is, in a bus stop, and the divisor on the outside. Now I've got a decimal point here. I don't want to forget it, so I'm going to bring it straight up. That's how we deal with decimal points. Now 3 into 4 goes one time, 1 left over. So I read this as 3 into 17. Well, it goes 5 times. That's 15, so I've got a remainder of 2. So I put that up there. So now I read this as 21. 3 into 21 goes 7. So there's my answer, 15.7. So just to remind you, if you've got a decimal point in the dividend, just take it straight up and that'll put it in the right place automatically. Okay, now let's see how we deal with remainders. And like I said, there's 3 ways. So I've got 170 divided by 4. So let's put it under the bus stop. 170 divided by 4. 4 into 1 doesn't go. 4 into 17, yes, that goes 4 times and leaves me a remainder of 1. So I put it there. So now I ask, how many times does 4 go into 10? And it goes twice. And I've got a remainder of 2. So leaving just a remainder. Now, if I've got a fraction, if I want to write the answer as a fraction, I do exactly the same. 170 divided by 4, well, I already know it's 42. And I've got a remainder of 2, and that 2 is divided by 4. So I write it as a fraction. 2 over 4 is the same as 1 over 2. So the answer is 42.5. And I might also decide to do it as a decimal. So again, I've got 170 divided by 4. Well, I already know the answer is 42. Now then, I want to write it as a decimal. So I'm going to put a decimal point there and then put a 0 after it. Now I've got a remainder of 2, so I put the 2 up there. And now my question is, how many times does 4 go into 20? And the answer is 5. And I forgot to do something rather important. I forgot to take that decimal point and take it upstairs there. So I forgot it, but luckily I remembered it. I hope you won't forget it in the future. Right, let's move on. Let's have a look at example 1 here. So I've got 327 divided by 6. So how many times does 6 go into 3? It doesn't. How many times does 6 go into 32? Well, it goes 5 times, and I've got 2 left over. So now I ask, how many times does 6 go into 27? And it goes 4 times and leaves me with a remainder of 3. Well, I'm going to do it as a decimal. So I put a 0 there. My remainder is 3. So how many times does 6 go into, I read this as 30, and the answer is 5. This time, being a clever boy, I remembered to bring the decimal point up. Okay, let's have a look at another example. Okay, example 2, 672 divided by 1.2. Oh, straight away, no, that is awful. Because I do not know my 1.2 times table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 10. So I've got to multiply this by 10 as well. So I'm going to make it 6, 7, 2, 0 divided by 12. And that's going to give me the same answer. Right, now 12 into, I can see it doesn't go into 6, into 67. Well, it goes 5 times, and that leaves me with a remainder of 7. So 12 into 72 goes 6 times. And I've still got this 0 here. So 12 into 0 doesn't go at all. So I've got a 0 on the end there. Let's just check that on the calculator to make sure it's right. Okay, so I better turn the calculator on. That's always a good idea. So 672, there it is, divided by 1.2. And I hope you can see the answer there, 560. So yes, I get the right answer. But the trick is, if I've got a decimal here, multiply it by 10 or 100 or whatever you need to do to make this into a whole number. You'll probably only ever get 2 digits. Right, let's have a look at the final example now, example 3. It's 156.8 divided by 28. Oh, that doesn't look very nice, but let's do it anyway. So 156.8, put it in my bus stop. Okay, the divisor is 28. Being smart, I'm going to remember to bring that decimal point straight up. Now then, how many times does 28 go into 156? Well, I don't know my 28 times table, so I'm going to make a reasonable guess. Let's try 5. Yes, 5 times 28 is 140. I can do that in my head. So now what I'm going to do is put my 5 there, and 5 times 28 is 140. So I put that underneath. Now, what about my remainder? Well, I can see there 6, 1. I've got a remainder of 16. Now what I do is I bring this 8 straight down here. I don't worry about the decimal point at all. So now my question is, how many times does 28 go into 168? Oh, that's easy. I already know that 5 is 140, and I can see that that's 140 plus 28. So I know the answer there is 6. Straight away. Just do a quick check. 6 times 20 is 120. 6 times 8 is 48. And that gives me 168. So yes, I'm right. So there you go. 3 quick examples. And now you know how to do long division. You know the written method. You know how to deal with remainders if there are any. And you've seen some examples. So all you need to do now is do lots and lots and lots of examples for yourself. Okay, I hope that was a good use of about 12 minutes of your time. So now go practice, 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 and practice some more until you can do long divisions quickly, easily and accurately, getting the right answer every time. Michael signing off. Bye now.